Hi, Bronze Age comic book artist Ken Landgraf here, and I'm working on this Buscema Troll commission. And I'm going to be using a pen this time. This is a STA pigment liner, number 2. And what I do is I test it out on a small area here to make sure it's working. And I also filled this with India ink. I took the cap off. There's a cap under here, and gave it a tap like this, and a sponge came out, and I stuck the sponge into my India ink dish over here. So it absorbed India ink. And let's see, I'll work on his armor. And this is a very nice, solid pen point. Gives a nice texture. Look at that. Doing the in-between tones here of the leather. Yeah, Jack Kirby created these trolls, but John Buscema took what Kirby did and added this like realism to it, which made it more cooler looking. I actually prefer the John Buscema drawings over the Jack Kirby ones, even though the Kirby created everything. Kirby was like a god. Buscema took what Kirby had created and then added his own realism of anatomy and all sorts of stuff to it. In a way, I think John Buscema may have been possibly the best superhero comic book artist. I mean, I like guys like Wood for the black and white inking and everything, but as far as comics, Buscema really added this dynamic punch all the time. And I'm looking at the ear. I want the ear to pop, so I'm using like pen lines in here. And I'm looking at his face, throwing a few more lines. Anything to show form. And these trolls are real brutal looking, like they got this armor. That's cool. That's all Jack Kirby, obviously. So Buscema's basically taking the Kirby stuff and then adding it. You know, he's got this like tunic under here, so he's got armor over this cloth. So what I'm going to do is do some lines, suggesting the cloth area material. I want to keep it all this tone of lines. This is a commission. The guy I'm doing it for loves detail. So I'm going out of my way to do as many small, thin lines as possible. And also, you can take this pen and also dip it into India ink too if you want. And here's the midline of his chest, so I'm thinking in terms of just curving towards those shapes. Like, look, see that line? So my lines are going to go in a similar direction. I'm going to put some hair on his chest. Those trolls are pretty ugly. Oh, that's looking really good now. We'll put some long detail in here. You can do take an area like, see the C shape, pull the pen lines down. Now you notice I'm putting these lines over the form. See the C shape? Look. It takes a long time to do a great drawing. You gotta really take your time. Make all the right moves on it. Oh, there's his big troll hand. That's got to be a masterpiece. Look how powerful that is. That's all just pure Jack Kirby. But some of that, it is nice anatomy to it. Kirby, there's hardly any anatomy. It's all these like basic shapes of power. So you got somebody like Buscema coming in there. And nobody was as dynamic as Buscema. You look at his Conans, nobody's going to touch that. I mean, Gil Kane could draw the human figure really good, but they tend to be lanky and stuff. And Wood's figures are pretty chunky and heavy. But Buscema had like perfect figures. They always call him the Michelangelo of comic books. You can see why. He was exceptional with anatomy. Ron Wilson once called John Buscema an anatomy freak. And in this pen, you can use upstrokes and be very sensitive with it. Boy, I like this gray I'm getting. I'm looking at the cave here. I don't want this cave just to be this simple thing, so what I'm doing is I'm going to ink the shadows behind each thing. Like, see the shadow? Bring back my pen lines. I'm using this pen pretty much like a brush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See how rich that looks? Okay, now he's got this armor. I want some more of that fur effect underneath. And to think when I was a young artist, I was afraid to use indie ink. Now I'm an absolute master of it. You just got to keep at it. Always thinking in terms of values. Turning the paper a little to get that, see that C shape, I want to maintain that. And he's got these like kind of kinky, thick ropes on his axe. And for these large black areas, I'm using this marker pen. Just going to dip it into India ink and punch out some big shapes on here. Like, let's say that axe. This really helps with the big black shapes. And this is no particular thing. This is like one of those pen sets I got. I don't even know what this is called. A Dacia, whatever. And it was a brush point. So right away you get the drawing going because I'm putting these huge black areas in. What's happening here? Light's hitting over here. So letting part of the fingers show through. Shadow from that finger. Oh, it's a powerful looking hand. And look at the arm up here again. Here's a thicker type leather. This brush pen works real good for that. Look at that. And you're trying to draw these C shapes. Keep the anatomy going strong. Feel a little bit of black. I'll go back to my pen. Using upstrokes. The trick is you got to make the line come from the black and disappear back into the white. And turn the paper. Crash. There's always something crashing because I got my fan on. I got papers all over my desk, so every once in a while something flies off. I used to have a cat here in the office, and he used to knock everything around too, so that added to the excitement. Even sometimes crawl in my drawing area. Now, as far as all this cross-hatching, I learned a lot of this from looking at Jack Davis. He used to draw these like Dracula record album covers. I remember keeping one because it showed a black and white drawing inside the record album cover. And he rendered the hell out of it. Also, Reed Crandall, and his creepy and eerie stories. Like, he drew the cast of the Amontillado, that Edgar Allan Poe story. And he just like rendered the heck out of that story. Oh my God, and the Telltale Heart. And Almost anything he did for Warren was amazing. His Civil War stuff for Blazing Combat. All worth a study and a look. And you notice I'm not even using any reference. I'm just inking it any way I feel. Now I got a black area, so I'm taking the pen lines and shooting them out of the black area. Building a form. So I'll go back to the white area. Oh, it's really intense. This guy's getting his money worth of line work. Wow, that's intense. Now looking at that axe again. There's that rope. Every once in a while I dip it into a little bit of water, back into the ink well. Just keep that ink flowing. No, this axe is not shiny. It's probably made out of stone, so I'm trying to get like a grit to it rather than a shine like a metal. Like Conan's sword might shine. This guy's a brute. A primitive weapon. And a caveman. Here's my marker pen to pop that out here. I want to put some black in there. Okay, so that's today's lesson using the old STA pigment liner, number 2, 0.2 pen. Ken Landgraf signing off. See you next time. Buy some of my books and please subscribe. I want to get monetized so I can keep doing this on a regular basis. Thank you. Signing off, Ken Landgraf.